reminding me of that.
Don't fear the big boys.
My name is Joe Porambo. I'm from Casper. I am a professional cook at an assisted living facility there in Casper. Been cooking for over 35 years. This is my first venture into the political realm, running for any office. I've watched my government of the country that I love with all my heart tear my country down. I've watched our rights be eroded. I've watched a government spend money that it didn't have without making choices and cuts, knowing that if I made the same choices that they're making and looked at the IRS and said, I can't afford to pay you, so I'm raising my debt ceiling, and you're not going to get your money. Every week I'd be in jail for not paying my taxes. But yet I've got a government that will not make those tough choices and say we need to cut spending. We need to pay our bills. And while they're doing that, they're telling me what I can't do. They're telling me that I have to buy health care from private industry. They're telling me that I can't carry a gun. They're telling me that I have no privacy, that they have the right to spy on me, on my cell phone, on my computer. They don't need a warrant. They don't need a reason other than the fact that I'm an American citizen. I'm free. And I just got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. And I read the writings of our forefathers, where they said that the only thing that keeps tyranny from succeeding is for good men to remain silent. Well, I will no longer remain silent. I will stand up and say enough's enough. If given a chance to represent the Libertarian Party in this race for U.S. Senate, I will go out and I will tell people that we don't need more government. We need more self-sufficiency. We need more freedoms. We need to be allowed to have the freedoms that our Constitution is out. And if the people of Wyoming see fit to send me to the U.S. Senate, I will stand up on the floor of the U.S. Senate and be willing to push for those tough choices that we need to make. I am a very strong supporter of our military and our veterans. We need to give our veterans what we promised them. We need to stop taking away the things that we promised them. We need to support our troops with the equipment that they need. That being said, one of the biggest budgets in the United States government is the Department of Defense. And I was asked in an interview, what would I do if I'm that strong of a supporter of the military? I won't compromise. We have to make very, very tough decisions. But this to me is not one of those tough decisions. We need to look right in the Pentagon and look at those spending. We need to look at some of these $1 million retirements that generals that have spent their entire career inside of those 8 walls get. And we need to be cutting that. We need to bring our budget into line. As far as our rights, our Constitution sets up certain inalienable rights that we have. Freedom of speech. I should feel free to stand here today, and I'm being taped. And if it ends up on Facebook, if it ends up on YouTube, I just went on a watch list. Why? Because I'm exercising my freedom of speech. This needs to stop. We need to give the citizens back their freedoms. The right to bear arms. We've heard it for years. The government wants to limit the arms that people have. George Washington wrote that the reason our founding fathers included the right to bear arms in our Constitution was for the time when our government came to take our guns. It wasn't for hunting. It was to protect our families, our households, from both foreign and domestic intruders, be it a robber coming through our door, or be it the government coming through our door. For these reasons, I had made the decision that I was going to run the U.S. Senate. I started out running as an independent because I looked at the two main parties, the Democrats, the Republicans. And I saw a carbon copy of each other pretty much. And I saw the people who had been taking our rights away. And I said, how can I represent that? I disagreed with it. Somebody had said, check out the Libertarian Party. Somebody I was talking to on the phone said, check out the Libertarian Party. Well, I went to the web page for the Libertarian Party, started reading the platform. Each thing I read, I said, that's what I've been talking about. That's what I've been talking about. That's what I've been talking about. I could not find one thing in the platform that wasn't what I had been saying. I looked at the feat it would take to run for office in independent Wyoming, and they make it almost impossible. So many regulations that you have to abide by in order to run as an independent. Call Richard. I said, Richard, this is what I want to do. We had quite a long talk that person on the phone. Well, we talked for close to 2.5 hours. Finally, he said, I got to go to bed. I got to get up early and go to work tomorrow. Well, so did I. I was pretty excited. I don't think I slept much that night, did I? And I think I kept Tammy awake most of the night. And then we had I came here to Riverton. We sat down and we had a good talk. And I made the decision that the Libertarian Party was the party that I needed to belong to. Went down to the courthouse, changed my affiliation, and decided to become a Libertarian. I ask you today to take this cook that doesn't have a lot of money to campaign, doesn't have a lot of time. I work full time. But I'll work full time at this. I'm asking you to give me the opportunity to run as a Libertarian for the U.S. Senate. And not only to run as a Libertarian for the U.S. Senate, but to be a U.S. Senator for the Libertarian Party. Are there any questions?
One of the questions that the friendly media are going to be asking you is, oh, you're a libertarian. That must mean you're an isolationist. And of course, we're using it as a pejorative. What would be your reply?
My reply would be that I'm not. I believe we live in a global community and we have to deal with other countries. Do I believe that we should be fighting other countries' wars? No. Do I believe that we should have men and women of our armed forces in harm's way in other countries? No. I think we very seriously need to look at closing bases in other countries. We need to defend our homeland. Our homeland is under attack today because we have redistributed our military personnel to every other country in the world. And we have not looked at defending the homeland. These bases are costing us billions of dollars a year to remain open, to defend other countries. Am I an isolationist? No. Do I? Because I believe that we have to work in cooperation with other countries. I do not believe that the Libertarian Party wants us to be totally excluded from the other countries. But the United States of America has got its issues that it needs to deal with. And we can't deal with that dealing with other people's problems. We need to deal with our own. Okay?
All right, and since you're on wire right now,
Okay.
I'm going to tell you how Taylor Haynes answered this last night,
Okay.
which was that if he answered it, he would not win the election. But the question is, where would you make cuts? You say we need to make cuts, where would you make them?
Okay. It may cost me the election. It may cost me the election. And he's probably right. If he answers the question, it may cost him the election. We need to close our base. We need to close bases overseas. We need to look at our spending or our overspending in the Defense Department. We need to do as you and I, as Americans, do on a daily basis. If Walmart sells it for $20 and Safeway sells it for $25, I'm going to Walmart and buying it. I may have shopped at Safeway all my life. I may have used Boeing to buy all my jet planes all my life. But if Richard can give me a better price on the same quality plane, I'm going to buy it from Richard. We need to look at that. We need to look at our entitlements. Do I think we need to take care of our elderly? Yes, beyond a shadow of a doubt. So stop taking money from Social Security, because that's an insurance plan that every American is paid into. Stop taking money from there and filtering it other places. Stop trying to do the job of the states in education. Why are we funding a Department of Education in the United States when that is the function of the states and locales to educate the youth of America. Washington cannot tell Wyoming people how to educate their kids. They know nothing about living in Wyoming. They know nothing about what it takes to run a ranch. Somebody from Wyoming can tell you that has owned a ranch. They don't have any concept of what it is to work an oil well. People from Wyoming know that. And these are the jobs that Wyoming children are going to be filling. These are the jobs that they need to be educated for. Education, schooling, primary schooling is to prepare children for adulthood. It's to prepare them to be successful adults in our society. And when we leave it to the federal government, we're not preparing them for our community. And education was always intended to be a job of the local and the states. I would look at federal government salaries, Senate, House of Representatives, President of the United States. Anybody who needs $250,000 a year to live off of is not anybody I know. I live on far less than that. And if you need $250,000 a year to live off of, then you have no idea what it takes to struggle. You have no idea what the people that you represent on a daily basis have to go through. So I would look at salaries. I would look at health care plans that are given to representatives. Health care plan that I couldn't even come close to being able to afford. Those are just a few things that I would look at. Are there going to be some tough cuts? Yeah. Especially when you start talking the entitlements. It's going to be some tough stuff. But we've reached a point in this country where we have to make some tough decisions. And I'm willing to go and make those tough decisions in both of them. Any other questions?
What would you feel about senators, congressmen being limited to 1 or 2 terms?
I am willing to, and I've spoken to Richard about this, I am willing to self-impose on myself term limits. I will only serve a max of 2 terms as a U.S. Senator. I do believe in term limits. I do believe that our government was set up where average citizens, like the men and women sitting in this room right now, went to Washington for a term of service to represent the people of their community in Washington and then went back to their other jobs. I have already told the place where I'm working that if elected, I would like to take a leave of absence because I will be coming back. The administrators there have informed me we would love to have you back.
In view of Cantor's defeat over amnesty, how do you feel about that?
Be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about.
Illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration? Okay. Illegal immigration. If you came here illegally, you need to be sent back. There is no amnesty. If you're here illegal, you go home. You receive no benefits, you go home. That being said, we are a country that was established on immigration. We need to make it easier and more cost-effective for people to come to the United States, to, as we called in the past, come to the promised land. Because it is. People want to be in the United States. It is very expensive to become a citizen of the United States when you immigrate. We need to look at our immigration system. But if you're living here illegal right now, you go home.
And how would you round up all these people?
How did they round up the Germans in World War II? They were able to round them all up then. It would be the same today. If you're caught as an illegal alien, you're never going to find them all because by nature, they are illegal. They're in hiding. In hiding in plain sight. They're working. They're working off the rolls. The states need to enforce their labor laws. You know, they can find out when we're doing things electronically and all. They know if a company is operating that it needs employees, but there's no income tax going in. Well, then we need to go to that company and we need to find out why there is no income tax coming in. Well, the reason there's no income tax coming in is because they've got people working under the table and they're not paying taxes. And you find your illegal immigrants that way. There are resources the federal government has, and having never been in politics, having never really had access to that kind of information, I don't know what their resources are, but there are resources the federal government has that you or me as an average citizen do not have, that they can locate people. You get pulled over on a traffic stop. You come up as you don't exist. You're an illegal alien. You get sent back. There's no trial. There's no, if you're illegal, you're illegal. You get sent back. I hope I answered your question. Any other questions?
Anybody else want to run for U.S. Senate? Or nominate somebody?
Against Mark
Stop that.
I thought, can we call him the anti-enzyme?
You know what, after 6 years in the Army, kind of towards the end of my career, I ended up being around a lot of high-ranking individuals that scared the shit out of me. After a while, I realized they'll put our pants on the same way.
And we
Yeah.
did. And we did.
Everybody puts their pants on with no time.
Everybody pulls them down for the Otherwise they smell like shit.
And sometimes when they do, they still smell like shit.
And sometimes they pull down the wrong lady's pants.
Better stop the video right
edited all that out.